All right. So welcome and good day to everyone here who is attending. This once again is CPACE Alliance 2024 Annual National Roundup webinar. This is part two of basically these calls that we do on an annual basis. Again, for those who are not familiar and have only joined us for the first time, and for those who actually are also have been here, of course, and just as a reminder to you all, the spirit and the purpose of these calls is to help with basically bringing the CPACE capital provider and as well as law firms community, which are members of CPA, together with the CPACE program administrator community to learn a little bit more about what all their programs had been doing in the past year and how they performed, what the expectations are certainly for the coming year, and what they hope to achieve with their programs. And also, too, I think that a good thing of what this particular live event does in this case is that we also allow this probably to be an opportunity for program administrators to share information with each other about the best practices that they've been implementing in their programs, and has helped to show some more success on helping to grow and to scale up their programs in their jurisdictions. And so that is always, I think, a good practice to do and to basically see when we do these particular events. So definitely we want to make sure that this is of the value benefit. And again, if you are not muted right now, please encourage yourself to mute.
Somehow I had to
basically to do that.
End up, what do you want to call it?
All right, let's go ahead and then jump into our agenda. Okay, so then just give a quick update about CPACE Alliance and our organization, just to give that overview. Then we'll go over some housekeeping items, which will be among the things I was probably just having to do is to mute some folks. So I'll just go over that real quick. And then just here, you'll see what is the slate of presenters that we do have with us for today. Okay, so just in terms of an overview of our organization, the CPACE Alliance is a nonprofit trade association that does represent capital provider firms and other transactional partners, where we basically work on different kinds of activities for helping to grow and expand the CPACE industry across the United States of America. In which case, we do this all in an effort to help create higher quality and as well as higher volume of CPACE transactions all across the country. And again, some of the activities we do is certainly policy and set of programmatic advocacy work. We do a lot of different technical assistance type work as well to programs, helping them to aid them in getting their programs stood up and created. And as well as we exerted some thought leadership over time. We have developed best practices and white papers on particular topics on different subjects that are involving around the case. So once again, just a reminder to folks to please make sure you're muted during this event, and so that we don't have any kind of unwarranted interruptions. We would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, not at this number for the last like 7.
All right, and then of course, with our organization, we are also growing very rapidly. As a matter of fact, we're very close now to gaining our 30th member of CPACE Alliance, in which case, again, we're made up of all these different kinds of capital provider firms, and as well as specialty law firms, and as well as other specialty organizations who work on doing CPACE efforts all across the country. So again, we're appreciative of having them all under our umbrella, and of course, we're always looking to continue expanding our particular coalition. All right, so then just a couple of housekeeping items that I wanted to touch on as we go through today's call. So again, as a reminder, so please keep your microphone muted and your video turned off during the course of the webinar, of course, except for those who are presenting at any given time. They would be allowed to certainly both be unmuted and certainly have their video on if they'd like. But again, this is all to be done in an effort to make sure there's no unwarranted interruptions, and we're being respectful to all program administrators who have given their time and their effort today to this call. And the way that we'll handle questions is that basically this will be some direct ones that are coming from me as the moderator, and as well as that we'll be able to take some questions from the audience after each of the programs complete their updates. In this case, it can be done right after each person does their update. In this case, we won't hold them all the way to the end of the call, because obviously we do have a slate of a lot of presenters today. But you can place those questions into the chat area in Zoom. And then your questions will be monitored throughout the course of the presentations today, and we'll then definitely try to get to as many of these questions as we possibly can. So with that said, let's go ahead and kick off these presentations for today. And we're going to start all the way up north in Alaska. And I'm going to hand the microphone now off to Melanie. Melanie, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Nicholas. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. Happy New Year. If we're still allowed to say that, I think we have another 5-6 days of that. Alaska has been rather busy when it comes to CPA. We've added resilience last year, and hence the lovely R now in our program. 2023 was rather quiet in terms of closing deals. We did have one close with the Aviator Hotel, which also happened to be their second CPACER loan, and they have a third one on the way. And the biggest updates for CPACER in Alaska in 2023 were that we were able to relaunch the program with the R for resilience, and be able to also have another borough, Matanuska, Susitna Borough, launch their own program. We're having their launch party next week. So very excited to see CPACER grow in Alaska. We have 2 other jurisdictions that are in line to also pass their own documented legislative documents to be able to launch their programs. And there are also efforts to launch a green bank in Alaska at the statewide level that are going through the Alaska legislative session currently. So all kinds of fun things happening up here. And Aviator Hotel, the same one that has had 2 CPACER loans so far, has a third one on the way for resilience specifically. So very excited to see all of that. That's what I've got.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the update, Melanie. And then, yeah, as a matter of fact, maybe just to go off that last point about resilience projects. So, yeah, so with obviously many programs are still trying to figure this out as being kind of a new offering of expanding out CPACE in this case. So what efforts is your program undertaking to help get resiliency projects completed within your program?
Oh man, our definition of resilience is extremely broad by state statute. So it's a lot of conversations and one-on-one. Yep, this falls under resilience. This does not fall under resilience. And just getting the word out there and putting the information in contractors' hands to be able to spread the word with them, and also tacking on, and the energy aspect of CPACER is the one that it's best known for, but there are so many other improvements that can be made. Thankfully, there is no lack of buildings in Anchorage and generally Alaska that need improvements of, frankly, all kinds. So the opportunity is aplenty up here. And really the one limitation for the program's growth is my time on and bandwidth on the program currently takes up 20-30% of my time. So that's where, yeah, that's the biggest holdback in terms of spreading it up here. For better and for worse, so snow load management is included in the definition of resilience for Alaska by state statute. For better and for worse, we've had a lot of buildings collapse in Anchorage recently because of the record snowfalls that we've had. So there's been a lot of attention on snow load, and that's been a good PR opportunity for us to jump on. Unfortunately for the building owners, fortunately for CPACER.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, yeah, what you bring up about bandwidth, that is definitely something we've heard in the past, and certainly we heard on the last call on Tuesday. So it's definitely something I think that a lot of programs do struggle with. And but definitely, I think this is where the CPA community, I think, could be helpful. Obviously, just help spread word and be kind of an extension on kind of your bandwidth in this case, to help with obviously spreading word. We're always happy to do what we can do to help certainly with your efforts.
Yeah, and it's a balancing act and a challenge because so much of business in Alaska is done through one-on-one relationships and relationship building, and that of course takes time and effort. But as soon as you build those relationships, it's smooth sailing from there. And being the only program administrator in the state, at least right now, that is very limiting, but it helps to have outside white papers, documents, case studies that I can point to and say, look, it's not just Alaska that's doing this, it's being done elsewhere. So thank you all on this call for all the newsletters and just marketing materials that I can use and leverage. I know Charlene in Texas has been very helpful in helping me just have a base case for marketing materials that I can go off of. And I'm very happy to share whatever we have in Anchorage for others to be able to use it so that we're not reinventing the wheel.
Well, great, absolutely. But of course, and yeah, too, if the Green Bank is successful getting set up in Alaska, I'm sure that will definitely be go a long way to help to provide additional bandwidth to help spread the word of the program. So definitely fingers crossed that can actually get done in Alaska, and that could be helpful.
Yeah, I think this is the 4th legislative session that it's going through. We'll see if this is the...
Optimism, glass half full.
Absolutely.
Molly.
Yes, Nicholas. This will be the one.
Right. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, though, for your update. I didn't see any other questions coming in through the chat. So again, appreciate the update. And of course, best of luck to your program in the coming year. All right. So now let's move on down to the continental United States again. And let's head out west to Clark County, Nevada, specifically. And now I'm going to hand that microphone over to Holly. Holly, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Nick. Hi, everyone. Just want to give you a brief update on Clark County, Nevada, which is about 90% of what we know as the Las Vegas Strip actually sits within the county of Clark County. So we launched the program for Clark County last year, and using our project center and kind of the toolbox we have, and have been working with them on getting all the documents updated so that first project is ready to go. I'm happy to say that we are ready to go and hope to have a first project in the first quarter. More on that to come. I think some other things that are, interesting to note with the Clark County and all of the Vegas programs, I think, is that, or all the Nevada programs, is water is a big deal, and water savings is a big deal, including landscaping changes, turf replacement, taking grass out, putting desert native plants in, all eligible costs there, because water is very serious business in this area. So the other thing I just want to note is that in a few weeks you'll be seeing Vegas at the is hosting the Super Bowl this year. And I have learned that there's always something going on in this county, and they have a lot of big projects to deal with. So PACE is, no matter how big the loan is with PACE, there seems to be something bigger in Vegas. So to that end, I just want to call out into the chat that there was an article about the top 10 big projects for the area coming up in 2024. That might be some business development for all you guys. Maybe you can sell PACE to one of these 24 or one of these big projects for 2024, and let me know. So with that, wrap it up. It's just one county. I don't want to take a lot of time.
No, thank you so much for the update. We appreciate it, Holly, in this case. And the one question, though, I did have on one of the points you mentioned in your 2023 successes, you said the first special exception to the program guidelines cap. Could you just describe and talk about what it is that you're referring to there?
Yeah, so Clark County, the county commissioners there are a strong government, and they wrote the program guidelines with a cap of $50 million on the loan size, which in my Wisconsin program would not be an issue, but this is Vegas. Everything is very big. The hotels are over 1 million square feet is a small one. So we expect that many projects may come in for that exception to go above a $50 million PACE loan. And we did walk through that process and get that approval on that waiver from the county for a project at the end of last year. So that's kind of the exception that we went forward with for that project and can do for other projects.
Well, great. Thank you for providing that additional explanation about why that was the case in this case. So that's really, really good and helpful. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions coming in the chat right now. So again, thank you so much, Holly, for your update, and definitely looking forward to hearing about your first successes in this program in the coming year.
Thanks.
All right, let's just move a little further east now to Colorado, and I'm going to give the microphone now over to Tracy. Tracy, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you have been experiencing the same challenges that we have in Colorado, but I would say that COVID was pretty rough. And then the last year with the interest rates, it was pretty challenging year as well. But we were able to pull together 11 projects, a little over 17.5 million on those projects. So I think the market is starting to rebound a bit, and folks are at least coming to terms with what they are presented with right now. So in any event, it was not our best year, but not absolutely horrible. Like Alaska, we did add in 2023, we had legislative changes. I got to sit in front of the House and the Senate committees, and that was something I'd like to never do again. But we did manage to get resiliency also added to the Colorado program. So we have a number of projects in the pipeline that are including resiliency. So that'll be neat to see that start to develop. As part of the legislative efforts, we also improve the efficiency of the CPA's financing process so that we can close projects more quickly, and there's more flexibility there, which was great. We also expanded the new construction financing. So originally we were limited to up to 20% of the total construction budget. Now we have in place our guidelines that can provide up to 35% of the total construction cost through CPA. So that's part of the response. Again, with the construction lending, senior lenders have really constrained their lending practices. Where I used to see like 60, 65% of a capital stack coming from a senior lender, now it's like 50%. So a lot of these developers are really challenged with getting the financing they need. So this was a response to try to help alleviate that. And we also expanded our retroactive financing, again, in response to a lot of the challenges that these building owners and developers are facing. We were limited to a 2-year look back period. Now we're 3 years, and we did expand it. It used to only apply to new construction projects. Now it also applies to retrofits. So looking into this year, 2024, we're looking to increase the interest-only period to 3 years. Again, we were limited to 2 years. We already got that passed, so that's now in place. So that should help, again, these new construction projects. We also petitioned to have variable interest rates available. This is in response, we have 52 lenders in Colorado. A lot of them are local banks, and they're used to variable interest rates. And of course, with interest rates being at the 22, 23-year high, historical high right now, we wanted to enable variable interest rates. So we actually did that as well. And the last thing I'll mention, we've been working closely. We launched our statewide building performance standards, and Denver has their Energize. So these are metrics building owners need to meet in terms of their EUIs. So we are working with those offices to have CPA support building owners that are trying to comply with those statewide initiatives. All right, that's it.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much for the update, Tracy. And it definitely sounds like you folks have been very active and busy in the last year, and certainly looking to see if you're going to do some of these new things here in 2024. And yeah, because definitely the first thing that I saw on your slide, which that did really stick out to me, was about allowing for variable interest rates in this case. So basically, you're saying is the community bank community who really has been pushing for that in this case. And do you suspect that property owners and clientele, that they're going to be just as interested in this?
Yeah, I think they will, because I think a lot of them are, fairly turned off by the higher interest rates right now. So offering a variable interest rate might give them a little more confidence to invest and to go ahead and finance these projects sooner than later. So yeah, I do anticipate I've already gotten a lot of interest from projects. So I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing a lot of activity there.
Well, it's really great, and yeah, definitely, I think that would be a first. I think in CPACE, given the it's kind of always been a fixed financing type instrument. So definitely very interested to see how that occurs and where that'll be leading to in the future here. We have one question coming in through the chat, and it said, "Are first mortgage lenders consenting then to variable rates?"
Yeah, so
I think,
we literally just enabled this. I'm completing the finance agreement and the program guide to reflect the variable interest rate. So you're actually the first group to hear about this. This will be officially launched in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, we're gonna have to see how all that plays out, right? I like to be a guinea pig, so we'll see. Maybe this will be a massive failure, but we'll see.
well, hopefully not. We definitely don't want to see any kind of failures in this case. But no, I think that is a very valid point. It would be very interesting to see how our mortgage lender is going to treat this once basically they start seeing that could possibly be coming into the equation for CPACE. So, all right, not seeing any other questions coming through the chat. So actually, we're going to stick with you, Tracy, as the presenter. And actually, I realized I should have put Nevada next to Clark County, but that's okay. So we're going to go back west to Nevada, and I know you're going to give now the update on Nevada.
Yeah, so right, Brian couldn't attend, so I'll give the quick update here on Nevada. The program to date has done 4 projects, a little over 39 million in financing. Last year, there was one project. It was a $15 million new construction project that was financed. So last year they focused on, one of the things they focused on was some legislative amendments to Senate Bill 283. And so there's now 8 jurisdictions that have adopted CPACE resolution conforming to Senate Bill 283. So this program covers in Southern Nevada, a lot of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. And in the South, it's Reno, Sparks, Fernley, Pershing County, and Washoe County. So the Senate bill, also similar to Colorado, it is expanded new construction financing up to 35%, in this case of the appraised or stabilized value. So in Colorado, we work off of the itemized construction budget. So looking at the actual construction cost, hard and soft costs associated with that. This is based off the appraised or stabilized value. So it can even increase the amount of financing a project can get even more. So hopefully this again will help new construction projects get moving and get the financing that they need and sort of fill the gap. So we're going to be doing a lot of education with developers over this coming year about how they can incorporate CPACE financing into their new construction projects.
All right, well, great. Well, thank you for that update in this case on Nevada. I know maybe one question I would have about this jurisdiction is, yes, are you seeing any additional uptick in activity in terms of getting other jurisdictions to join?
Yeah, I'll have to defer to Brian. I haven't been on the front lines there, Nick. So I could have him update you and you can maybe pass that along to the rest of this group. I know that, yeah, we've been pretty active in recruiting, but I don't know the specific details.
Sure. Okay, that's not a problem. Yeah, absolutely. We'd be happy to get that information directly from Brian. And that's definitely, I'd be happy to pass it along to everybody here. And I'm not seeing any questions for you in the chat. So I'm going to say then at this point, thank you, Tracy. And again, we wish you luck, certainly, both in Colorado and in Nevada here in the coming year.
All right, thanks.
All right. All right, so now let's go ahead and move all the way east to Connecticut. And let's now give the microphone over to Catherine. Catherine, go ahead and take it away. Catherine, you there? You're on mute. All right, perhaps.
Nick, I'm here.
Ah, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So last year, 2023, we did pretty closely to what we did the year before, ballpark anyway. So 20 projects at about 19 million total for the year. And we're expecting to do something similar this year. Well, we expected to do something similar this year, but it seems to have revved up a little bit. so maybe we'll exceed our goals for 2024. In 2023, our 3 top projects were with a biochemical company, Enco, where they did a really comprehensive project. It's still underway for about close to $4 million. And then a senior center is the second biggest with $3.3 million, and that's solar and EV charging. And then there was a third-party capital provider that did the Litchfield Courthouse, a historic building, and they repurposed that for a boutique hotel. And we meant to have our guidelines for resiliency launched last year, but that's taken longer than we thought. So they're coming out this year in 2024. And you know what I didn't put on the slide is we did establish a relationship with Epic, and I believe we are offering that now to our energy efficiency contractors. And in addition, this year, we anticipate that CBIA, which is, you know, the premier Connecticut Business Association, they may seek a legislative change to our SIR requirement for retrofits.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the update, Catherine. And yeah, I think we're all still waiting on certainly bated breath to get those resiliency guidelines in this case and see it, because I know I think definitely our members in the industry would definitely be interested in taking a look at those when the public comment period comes out for that. I know certainly one of my former colleagues had let me know that was going to be the case. So definitely looking forward to seeing them. And then certainly this update about the possible sort of extinguishment of the SIR requirement in your statute, I think would be music to the ears also of my members in this case. And just out of curiosity, because it sounds like you're saying that it was different
Wait, Nick, one sec. Wait a sec, Nick. You said extinguishment? I didn't say that. I said legislative change.
So
No,
a little more.
Extinguishing.
So a little more detail, Catherine. What are we talking about there then?
Well, you know, it's not being done by us, and it's not being, you know, it's not out yet, any of the paperwork. So I think it's premature to say that they're going to ask to remove the SIR. So I think that we need to wait and see, right? I don't want to predict. I know that we have been speaking to them, and, you know, they're speaking to their client base, and I think it's really premature. So let's just wait a little bit, and it'll be out, I would imagine, relatively soon, and then we can comment on what the requirement
this is
would
Lee.
be, what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
Please
So
stay a few moments to answer.
sorry, please mute yourself if you're not muted. Thank you. All right. Well, yeah, my apologies. I shouldn't have read into that to suggest there was going to be extinguishment. So my apologies there. But yeah, we'll definitely then keep an eye out, certainly for us in the industry, and I know certainly you folks at the Green Bank will do the same.
Yep.
All right, and I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. All right, so again, thank you so much for the update, Catherine. Appreciate it, and certainly best of luck to you in the coming year. All right, so now we're going to go out of the continental United States again, and we're going to go to the state of Hawaii. And so a newcomer to one of the newcomer programs to our calls in this case. And so Gwen, the floor is now yours.
Great. Thanks, Nicholas, and aloha. Unfortunately, we don't have any CPA loans closed yet, but I'm finding that it not only takes a village to raise children, I'm learning that it also takes a village to get CPA legislation passed. And so really appreciative, mahalo. Thank you to the support of the CPA Alliance and its members. Our Honolulu City Council passed Bill 56 on December 6th, enabling CPA in Honolulu. We are currently working on a memorandum of agreement with the city and have just one more little but very important item to address. My Deputy Attorney General indicates that we could possibly finalize the MOA by next week with the city. And if the city is agreeable, I'm hoping that they will ask the City Council to introduce it in a resolution to approve the MOA on February 7th, with it scheduled to then pass full council on the 28th. So I have my fingers and my toes crossed on that. We believe that Kauai County will be introducing its ordinance on February 15th, so look out more for that. I was on Maui Senator McKelvey's radio show yesterday, and he pledged his support to help CPA get approved for Maui, and also wanted to share that our legislators are very supportive of a bill to provide condos access to CPA financing. We have our legislature just opened last week, and so we have 4 versions of the bill introduced with the hopes that one of them passes the finish line in June. Last but not least, we'd like to close at least one project before the year end. Mahalo.
Well, thank you so much, Gwen, for that update in this case. And of course, throughout all this, CPA and our members have been very happy to work with you on helping to get a program stood up in the state of Hawaii. So again, it's been our pleasure, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing some great activity coming out of your state, certainly in this coming year.
Thank you.
And yes, I'm not seeing any other questions or updates coming from the chat. So again, thank you again, Gwen. And yes, definitely look forward to continuing working with you in this coming year. All right, so then let's go back to the continental United States and the way to the East Coast. And let's now check in with Washington, D.C. and the District of Columbia. So Ronald, the floor is now yours.
Well, thank you, Nick. We've had a pretty good year last year, fiscal year 23. We exceeded the $100 million milestone in the since the program's existence in 2013. Since the DC Green Bank took over the program, we've actually approved $48 million of that $100 million in the past 2 years. So we're excited about the work that we're doing here. In fiscal year 23, we closed 7 projects totaling $16.4 million. They included a office conversion to a hotel in DuPont Circle, a daycare. We had 4 multi-family units, and we approved a condominium which was worth $4.8 million PACE loan there. In addition, we implemented a new operating standard procedures for our asset management area so that we can reduce the level of duplications there, and at the same time created timelines which were leading up to the PACE payment, semi-annual PACE payment. So that has worked very well for us. In addition, we brought on 6 new capital providers, bringing the total to 24 capital providers. And in the first quarter of our fiscal year, we sent a survey to our capital providers, just trying to get a feel of where they are in the marketplace. One of the questions we asked was, were there any impediments to doing business in the district? And so we received some response in terms of our, caps on the origination fee, broker fees, and some suggested that we remove the SIR requirements. We are currently in the process of reviewing our program guidelines so that we could make sure that we, remain consistent within the marketplace. And on that note, I will, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for the update, Ronald. We appreciate that. So yeah, as part of your review process of the program guidelines, would that potential changes in this case to that, would they be eventually released for public comment?
Well, I mean, we were basically looking at the comments from the capital providers. That's to the extent from where we were.
Okay, so got it. Yeah. So you basically, the basis of your program guidelines changes are basically already including the feedback from the survey that you included.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, it has to be approved by our the Office of the Attorney General.
Got it. Okay. Well, that certainly sounds good, and we wish you luck with that process. I don't see any other questions in the chat for you, Ronald. So, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll conclude here. So thank you so much for your update, and certainly best of luck to your program in the coming year, especially with these projected changes.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's now go a little further north to Massachusetts. And I believe, Connor, we're going to pass the microphone over to you for your update.
Thank you, Nick, and hello, everybody. So for 2022, our total cumulative projects were just over 2.3 million, as you can see. And in 2023, didn't have any projects closed, but we were focused on expanding our program to include new construction, which went through this past summer, which we're very excited about. And in 2023, as you can see in our achievements, one of our focuses was to kind of keep expanding into new municipalities, and we've reached 73. So we're getting close to the 75 milestone here in Massachusetts. The recent ones were some big municipalities in the surrounding Boston area, such as the city of Cambridge, the town of Brookline, and Woburn. So we're excited to see the program still being opted in to many different localities across the state. For 2024, our objectives are kind of simple: close some deals with the expansion into new construction. Like I said, we have a lot of business development to work on in that area, so we're excited to see how that pans out throughout the year. And increase municipal participation. We have a few municipalities kind of queued up that are getting ready to opt into the program, which we anticipate by February we'll get over to 75 total, which is exciting. But yeah, it's kind of a short and sweet update from up here in Massachusetts.
Well, great, Connor. Thank you for the update for our audience. And so just out of curiosity, and I can't remember, how many municipalities total are there in Massachusetts?
352 in Massachusetts.
Gotcha. So you're getting closer and closer to a third of the way there. So so certainly, yes, I know you got a lot more ground to cover and to get more of the state opted in. But again, yeah, definitely wish you luck on that. And I think getting more of the programming spread out throughout across the state, I think it will only lead to more of these opportunities and more projects getting done.
Yes, thank you.
All right, not seeing any chat questions for you. So again, thank you for the update, Connor, and definitely best of luck to your program in 2024. All right, let's go now to the Midwest, and let's go check in now with Michigan. So Todd, the floor now is yours.
Thank you very much. It sounds like we had a very similar year to a lot of you. We definitely felt some pressure from the interest rates fluctuating, but overall we're very happy with 2023. 9 projects, 53, almost 54 million, and certainly we did see the size of our projects kind of creeping upwards. So that definitely helped inflate the number a little bit. Very happy with the passage of amending legislation. It took about 3.5 years, which thank you to any number of the CPA Alliance members and CPA Alliance for helping to force that through, educating and cajoling members of the Michigan General Assembly and answering questions when needed. The bills do become effective in the middle of February, and so we're kind of right in the middle this year of rolling out a new version of PACE in Michigan to reflect the changes from the PACE statutes. And so I guess that's a major objective for 2024, rolling out 3.0. Every one of our jurisdictions in Michigan have to adopt a PACE program report. Every one of those needs to be updated. So we are in the process of working with our member jurisdictions to get those updated. A number of them will be done before February 13th. We hope to have all the rest of them done by hook or by crook by the end of Q2, if I can get away with it. So we're also currently working on updating a lot of our program materials, from our program report to our contractor training, which we're expanding into partner training videos to make PACE, the story of PACE, a little bit more accessible to not just the lenders and the property owners and our jurisdictions, but really anybody looking for information. So we're working on that, kind of rolling that out as we go through the process of updating all of our program anyways, the statutory changes. The other big kind of wave that we're riding, the Michigan, or My Healthy, I forget the name of it now. Michigan has a slew of new clean energy bills, state-driven bills and initiatives that really are going to impact how projects are done. And we hope to see kind of a wave of new projects coming from that, where potentially PACE is providing a little bit of gap financing. So we're excited to see how the My Healthy Climate Plan, that's what it is, rolls out in Michigan, and happy to see the amendments to PACE rolling out, which do allow for environmental hazard projects, because Michigan always has to rename things. So it does cover resiliency as well as fixing potable water systems and reclamating lead paint. The other two major changes pertain to new construction being codified into the statute now and needing to be built above code without an SIR or a savings guarantee. And for retrofits, our SIR and savings guarantee are at the discretion of the property owner. They're able to waive it if they want to. So those are the big changes coming, and lots of work early on.
Well, right. Well, yeah, thank you so much for the update, Todd. And yeah, and absolutely, it was our pleasure, CPA Alliance, and certainly with our members in this case. Also, to giving a bit of a shout out to the Michigan EIBC, which is basically where we all partnered with to get it done in its latter stages. So all their efforts, again, very, very welcome, very supportive in terms of getting those amendments through, which was a very long process, is all I'll say. So, but yeah, definitely, we're definitely looking forward to seeing the updated guidelines, especially too. And to that point, would it be any chance, Todd, for the industry and the community to be able to review the guidelines prior to them being put into effect, or are they just going to go right into being put into effect when the legislation takes effect in the middle of next month?
So our program manual, which is how we run Leading Green Michigan, we've circulated some of the draft language to particular parties for comment, but we are not opening that up to just general comments from the public. And the other documents, the program reports adopted by our local jurisdictions will, in some cases, actually go for a public hearing. In other cases, they will be reviewed with the local jurisdictions.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good in this case. One other question, though, in the chat for you is basically asking that in your state statute, or is it in your state statute, that program reports need to all be updated? Did you understand what the question was there?
Yeah, they don't technically, I guess, need to be updated. But they are all with the statutory changes that came in with the two bills in 2023 out of date. Even programs that joined last year towards the beginning of the year, they don't address the concept of environmental hazard projects at all. And so really being able to implement that and implement the waiver, we really do need to update all of our program reports. I can also say we're maybe a bit of a cautionary tale for other states. As the jurisdictions have joined over the years, we have kept some of them updated, but with the 3.5-year push to get the legislation changed, we kind of put that on hold. And so while we're referring to this as PACE 3.0, I can tell you a few of our jurisdictions still have a PACE 1.0 program report. Some of them have 2.0 program reports. And so it's a great opportunity and a need to update all of them at this point.
Well, got it. Well, again, thank you for answering that question in this case for our audience. All right. Well, Todd, well, thank you so much for providing your update. And again, we wish you luck certainly with your now upgraded program and seeing that get rolled out here in 2024.
Thank you very much.
All right. Appreciate it. All right, well, let's go back out west to, again, one of our newcomer programs on our call, and that being New Mexico. So I'm going to hand the mic now over to Nora. Nora, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Nicholas. Hi, folks. I'm Nora Sackett with the New Mexico Economic Development Department. We are brand new, as Nicholas said. I will not be able to answer any technical questions for you because I'm not a technical CPA specialist. The state legislature created the CPA program for the state in legislation last year. And placed administration within our department, but did not give us funding to hire a specialist. So we are contracting out with a program administrator, and that contract should be finalized imminently. So for the next meeting, you will have them on this to present to you in much more technical detail than I am able to. But I do want to thank Nicholas and the CPACE Alliance team, as well as some other folks I think that are on here who have been incredibly helpful in getting us on our feet and standing us up with documents, etc. And I believe our contractors, I don't think I can say the name since the contract isn't signed yet, but they have already been in touch with several folks from the Alliance and several capital providers to get them up to speed. So thank you so much for that. I do have folks sort of waiting in the wings for to begin opening CPACE deals as soon as the contractor, the administrator is in place. So that's very exciting. And I'm confident that in 2024, we will have at least one deal closed because there are there's that much desire for sure. There are I know of numerous projects that are just chomping at the bit. So short and sweet from me, I think, but thank you to those who've been helpful, and hopefully next year we will have some exciting numbers to update.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Nora, for this update. And of course, it was CPACE Alliance and our members' pleasure to certainly help with getting basically the structure of your program set up, in this case with the guidelines and transactional documents and the like, and getting that legislation updated and passed. So definitely our pleasure in helping to get that done and get a new program stood up in the state of New Mexico. Then saying, maybe I passed you by, but did you have a sense about the timeline of when Adelante Consulting, who is that administrator you've selected, when they might be up and running as the administrator in the state?
It should be imminently. We're just, you know how state contracting goes sometimes. So just waiting to get signatures on those things. So it should be very, very shortly.
Got it. And yeah, and I know some of my members have been reaching out to me asking about particular jurisdictions and seeing if the process could start getting going to get basically those jurisdictions to opt in. So is there that possibility that work can also happen coinciding with getting Adelante completely on board and basically up and running?
So there is certainly background work we're encouraging our counties and municipalities to do to get ready to opt into the state program. I think most folks want to name the state contracted administrator in their resolution, but that will be the administrator they're using as well. So I think most folks are waiting for that to be finalized so that they can refer to that in their documentation.
Got it. All right. Well, that all sounds good. And just looking to see if we have any questions in the chat for you. I am not seeing any come through. All right. So again, Nora, thank you so much again for the update. And of course, yes, we do definitely wish you all luck here in 2024 as you get your program launched and getting ready to go to start getting transactions completed.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you again. All right. I know. I apologize. I'm forcing you folks to be having this bad whiplash in this case, going back and forth across the country. But now we're going to head on back to the East Coast and going to go now to the city of New York. And I'm going to give the microphone over to Kyle now. So Kyle, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thanks, Nicholas. Hey, everyone, Kyle from NYSERDA, New York City. In 2023, we had one deal closed. It's a $5 million deal done by Pace Equity. I think I see Ethan on the line here. It was a smaller deal than our previous ones, and obviously it's only one, but it was the first one since the two we had during our pilot phase in 2021. So we think that's good news, and will hopefully create some momentum for 2024 for some more retrofit deals. Beyond that, we also had some updates to the guidance for retrofit projects. there were electrification measures, heat pumps, domestic hot water systems are deemed pre-qualified. New York State has SIR, we call it a CBR here, same thing. But those measures do not have to meet any SIR requirement, and the full cost can be financed. You know, that electrification is a policy goal of both the city and the state, so we're excited about that. And then the other thing I would note for 2023 is that the New York City finished its CAPA rulemaking process to authorize a program to allow for new construction and ground leases. The rule that was finalized this past November, it does contain an all-electric standard, meaning that in New York City, new construction will only be for all-electric buildings, no fossil fuels, with some exceptions such as commercial kitchens and a few others. That being said, the program is not currently open for new construction projects, and that's because there is some tension between the all-electric standard and the CBR requirement in the New York State guidance. So looking forward in this year, we hope that the state, NYSERDA as a state agency, will make some updates to their guidance that will allow for the all-electric standard to work for new construction, and we can open up the program and get it going. I put in there by the end of Q1. That's not a promise, that's a hope. I would say I said coming months, I think earlier today. So it's out of our control, but it is being worked on, and we hope it'll be sooner than later. And we do expect that once it opens up, there will be a strong demand for new construction projects. And then otherwise for 2024, we definitely hope for increased volumes for retrofit projects. We included at least one condo project. New York City has a lot of condos. From a program perspective, we want PACE to work for them. PACE in New York State is not for residential properties. It has to be 3 units or greater. Condos are individually owned, so it's a little complicated, but there are some scenarios when condos are owned by a common entity that PACE could work, and we hope it will work. And then the last thing I put in there was some other possible updates to the program guidance to make sure that, and more for beyond the new construction part I already mentioned, for retrofit projects to make the guidance a little more accessible. I have details on those, but I would say that is definitely being discussed. I would also note, I'm sure some or many people on here know that there is a bill in the New York State legislature that would amend the New York State PACE law and change it. And the New York State session runs through June. So I think we'll, I can't discuss that, but I think we'll see where it ends up at the end of June.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the update on New York City, Kyle. We appreciate that. And then in terms of the new construction guidance in this case, would that potentially be open up to any form of public comment before it is released?
I do not think so, because there was already the rulemaking process, and that did have public comment, and that the all-electric standard is contained in the rule. So I think the program guidance the New York City program guidance will just kind of fill in the details of that. And the state guidance, NYSERDA does not generally open it to public comment, I don't believe.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you so much for this entire update, Kyle. I'm not seeing any other questions come in for you from the chat. So again, appreciate that. And certainly best of luck on all of these endeavors in this case with your program in 2024.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's now go back over to the Midwest, and let's now talk about the state of Ohio. And I believe I'm giving the microphone to Chris. So Chris, please take it away.
Nope, you're actually giving it to Caleb.
All right, Caleb, you go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. So hi everybody. We had a pretty good year in Ohio. I think the program's been active for a decade now, so we're pretty saturated in the different markets, and we have now to date closed 280 projects in the state. We're crossing the 700 million mark, and last year about 20 projects, 78 million. Right now, we are seeing, a number of that 20 to $30 million plus, project come in. There's several in the pipeline, a couple closed last year, and we're seeing that, a lot of that is in deals that are slightly more complex, that may be revenue-based deals, hospitality deals, tourism deals. And PACE is kind of finding a nice spot as a gap filler there. Possibly deals that otherwise have a small or sometimes non-existent senior, but are based upon tax credits and multiple sources of capital and a capital stack. So that's a little bit about what our deal flow looks like. Lots of local governments have been added to the energy district programs, and like I said, because of rates kind of hitting a high point near the end of last year, a lot of folks kind of took their deals off and put them on the sidelines. We're seeing those come back in, so we expect to have a much stronger 2024.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the update, Caleb. We appreciate that. I don't see any questions in the chat for you, so I think what we'll do, actually, this one just come in. So in terms of the data, in this case, that was presented here this afternoon, does that include all the ESID districts in this case in Ohio?
Correct. This is 100% of the CPACE activity that has occurred in Ohio.
Got it. All right. Well, again, appreciate the clarification there. So let me go ahead and move on then to the next state of Kentucky. Caleb, are you still going to be presenting, or we're going to pass to Chris?
Over to Chris.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Caleb. All right, go ahead.
So with Kentucky, I think certainly the same themes of what we're hearing with everybody else. We only closed one actual project. We had about a half a dozen that were really kind of lined up earlier in the year, and then due to rates and other things kind of got paused. And now as we are in January, we've got about I would say 4 out of those half dozen that we are now kind of back on the radar and working towards, and then another half dozen that have come onto the radar just new over the first couple of weeks of the month. And so we're really busy, and it seems like everybody's fairly optimistic. These are splits of new construction and fairly significant retrofit type of projects. In 2023, even though the project close was a lower number than we wanted, we still continue to do a lot of the groundwork that obviously is necessary in creating the PACE districts. I think we had about a half dozen new ones created really in advance for the projects that were really kind of mentioned. Another thing we really have tried to do over the past 3 years in particular, and we're going to continue to do it, but we had great success in 2023, is reaching the state economic development agencies and some of the local regional development agencies, at least in Kentucky. And I'm sure it's not only in the state of Kentucky, but the local and the state government agencies really are not well versed in PACE. And so we obviously collectively as a group here, we need those entities really to be marketing, understanding, and pushing PACE in addition to other, tax incentives that they have in their own, maybe state programs or even at the local level. So we're going to continue to work hard in doing that. And then you can see some of the items we have on 2024. The major really kind of metro markets still continue to show the demand, the Louisville metro area, central Kentucky with Lexington. And then, and then we're going to continue to keep pushing to get those new PACE districts going, especially in the areas where we know that the activity is going, and that is really kind of down the Interstate 65 corridors from Louisville to the Tennessee border, and the same thing from Interstate 75 from Northern Kentucky to the Tennessee border. So that's what we've got.
All right, well, great. Thank you so much for the update, Chris. We do appreciate that. And of course, best of luck with trying to keep on expanding the program and getting into those constituencies to help with getting that, getting more projects done. So definitely like hearing that. I don't see any questions for you in the chat. So again, thank you so much for your update as well as Caleb's. And again, best of luck for both your programs in 2024.
All right, thanks, Nick.
All right. All right, well, let's then move a little further south to Tennessee, and let's now get one of our also newcomer programs to our calls for their update in the Metro Nashville and Davidson County area. So, Erica, the floor is now yours.
Yes, this is James Harris. I'm here on behalf of Trustee Erica Gilmore. I am the CPACER administrator for the Metro Nashville CPACER program. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Zuba and his team for putting this great event together. We're super excited here in Nashville about the program and about the opportunity to be in this great space where you combine capital creation, economic growth, and environmental safekeeping. Looking back on 2023 or the activity for last year, we just started our program recently. So our projects that we closed was in the third quarter of 2023. We were able to close 2 deals representing approximately $60 million in total capital investment. We got close to closing a third deal, but we think we will be able to close the third deal in the first quarter of 2024. That deal could potentially range in the neighborhood of $15 to $30 million in total investment. Overall, we're very satisfied with 2023, having started the program at the middle point of the year, and want to obviously thank Trustee Gilmore. She went across the country and talked to a lot of stakeholders in the CPACER community and brought the best practices and best policies back to our program that has enabled us to be able to be in this current position. We also were effective in engaging different people within Tennessee and within Nashville, and that has allowed us to create a system that's meeting the needs of the CPACER stakeholders that we have worked with and that are around the community. Additionally, we're very happy that we have worked and helped spread the message about CPACER to not only people within Nashville, Davidson County, but across the state. And we've also helped some programs get launched. Our great neighbors and friends to the east in Knoxville, and we work closely with that program to help them get off the ground. So we're obviously happy with any involvement that we can have to help push the purpose of this great program. Looking forward to next year, some of our key goals are to finalize our new application process. Currently, our application is tied within the city ordinance that was passed. And if you were to look through that application, like our applicants do, it's between 15 and 20 pages. And so it's kind of elaborate. And so what we want to do is to streamline that to 2 to 3 pages to make it very concise and user-friendly. Additionally, we are going to fully integrate our energy and environmental engineer into our programming. And so when we started, we didn't have him on board full time, but now we do. And so he's going to be a great resource to help us further streamline and speed up the approval process and to work with the CPACER for applicants as they go through the process. Additionally, we want to continue to reach out to the and engage the market here in Nashville, the banking and the business community. We think that there is a tremendous opportunity because of the investment in projects that are happening in Nashville that we can continue to add to that mix, that capital stack, and to help Nashville continue to grow as it has been doing. I'd like to, again, thank you all, and I'll take any questions you have.
Well, again, thank you so much for the update, James. We really do appreciate it, especially on behalf of Trustee Gilmore. Definitely been seeming like you've been very busy getting the program stood up, and yeah, definitely looks like you have a lot to look forward to here in 2024. So I'd say a couple of public questions to kind of call out as you're finalizing your application process to help simplify it and streamline it. Will that be made open to a public comment process that people can actually give their thoughts and their opinions on that?
Sir, we don't have an official public comment period, but we certainly are working or will work with the different capital providers that we've worked with, and also other people in the business community to advise us on what type of information or what type of system that they would like to have that will be useful for them in putting their application package together and giving it to us in the quickest and most convenient way possible.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you for letting us know about that. And then probably the other aspect here to ask about is to talk about this full integration of an energy and environmental engineer in the county into your program. So what will be the specific role of that energy and environmental engineer in the CPACER program?
So, obviously we trust the applicants. Well, we have great trust in the applicants that we have worked with and their engineers that they have used to submit to us the benchmarks that they're, obviously you have to hit in terms of energy savings to be eligible to be a recipient of approval for this type of financing. And so we have been doing it in-house, and for the most part, we've been relying on those reports, which is you can do under the statute. However, working with our own engineer, we can submit that paperwork to him, and he can process it and advise us as to whether they're meeting the criteria, so we can ensure full compliance with the statute.
Got it. All right. Well, understood in this case.
Yeah. Nicholas, is Michael Yaki. Hi, James. Michael Yaki with Petrospace Finance.
Yes,
Having written the statute, I'm unfamiliar with there is no explicit savings requirement. There's an economic benefit statement, but that's very different from a savings requirement.
Well, actually, you know what? I would have to go back and look at that, but I guess the main thing I meant the ordinance, because our ordinance is pretty elaborate in terms of, Nashville obviously is very progressive on many things, and when it comes to the environment, it's one of the things that we are try to be cutting edge on. So there are a lot of provisions within the ordinance that have to. So I guess I meant the law overall. So that may have been me misspeaking. The statute versus the ordinance. The statute is, as you all mostly know, is very bare bones to a great extent in terms of just trying to lay out the system that you can adopt. But it does not prevent other the city that passes the program to have some of its own criteria in there. And that's what Nashville's done. And so we're getting an engineer to help us meet the requirement of complying with the national statute. Mr. Michael, that's your response.
Well, James, I appreciate that. And I would just say that one of the things that you might want to do is and with all respect for the work that you've been doing, is talk with members of the CPACE Alliance on this, because we've actually worked pretty hard with a lot of different jurisdictions on these types of issues, and the Tennessee statute is actually crafted in a way to avoid some of the friction and transactions that we're doing. Well, we can talk about this offline, but it's something to discuss later on.
Yeah, I
Yes,
was
that's
gonna
right.
recommend that.
That's right. And I'll say this quick, and I don't want to have too much of a back and forth. Like I said, we can do it offline. But certainly, I want to be very clear. Our program and Trustee Gilmore, we have worked hand in hand with all the applicants that have come through the process. I want to be perfectly clear that we want to approve, and we have approved every applicant that has came before us, and work with them hand in hand in achieving their goals. So this engineer that we use is not to be a building block or an obstacle to approving these deals. We want to get as many deals because it's good for the community, it's good for the economy. So, I just wanted to say that and put that on the record to make sure there's no confusion as to the purpose of that particular individual.
Well, again, we appreciate hearing that, James, in this case, and I agree. I think a conversation offline about this would be certainly, I think, be fruitful for all parties. So definitely, we can definitely talk about that offline and explore that more in the future here. So, all right. Well, again, we appreciate your update with our call today, and again, very much best of luck to your program in the coming year.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care now.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so let's now move on then further south here to Texas, and let's now get our update from Charlene. Charlene, go ahead.
Hey everyone, happy afternoon. Thank you for sticking it out. It is so exciting to be on a call and hear about all these new programs and the success that they're having, and to see fruition in all this early hard work. So congratulations, everybody. So in Texas, we had a good year. We closed 12 projects, 107 million total. And you can see our growth in spite of the interest rate challenges that everybody's facing. We also closed our largest project in Texas, and this one sat on the sidelines because of some of this cost of capital challenge. It's a $48.5 million new construction hotel on the 1968 World's Fair Hemisphere Park property. So the city is thrilled for this redevelopment. This is an interesting one. The owner, Zachary Hospitality, huge, successful firm, and very much a big part of San Antonio. They're excited about PACE because it helped them maintain 100% of the equity on this property. And without PACE, they would have had to sell much of their interest. So another great story for PACE. We expanded our territory by 6 counties and 5 cities for a total of 94. And if you look at the map, you'll see we reach about 75% of the Texas population. But to put that in Texas perspective, we only have 206 counties to go. So we committed to serve all of Texas, and our goal continues to be to do that. So our objectives looking outward is to improve our service level, our responsiveness, to continue our transparency in how we operate, to grow our professional staff and our board representation. Really have added some wonderful people to our board, and it has made a terrific contribution to our organization. And then finally, we are working to develop what we are affectionately calling now Turbo PACE, but in a hats off to Michigan, realizing that we have to make this program more accessible for our small businesses and our local lenders, particularly in our underserved communities, our rural communities, and our border communities. So as we continue to lay a foundation for a program that is steady and strong and trusted in the next 20, 40 years, these are the kinds of things that we will continue to do, and we welcome everybody's thoughts and contributions on the best way to do that. We're big on learning from others, so we welcome anybody's input on that, everybody's input. Thank you.
All right. Well, yes, thank you so much for the update, Charlene. We appreciate that. And again, it looks like you've had a lot of great work that occurred within the last year. So definitely looking forward to see what's going to happen in the coming year in the great state of Texas. And out of curiosity, then on the turbo pace, would there be any kind of different parameters or requirements basically for getting those pace projects funded through that effort? Or will it basically always still be the same requirements?
Well, we're just getting started. And obviously, obviously we have a lot of work to do on this, but if there's a way that we can lessen the expense and the workload for small businesses and the underwriting workload for small lenders, these are things that we're exploring.
Got it. All right. Well, again, we definitely look forward to seeing what's gonna be out there for that particular sub offering of your program. So best of luck with that.
Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any direct questions in the chat for you. So again, thank you so much, Charlene, for that update. And again, best of luck certainly to your program in 2024. All right. Well, last but not least, let's go back to the West Coast. And now we're going to also end today with a newcomer program, and that being in Pierce County, Washington. So Eurydice, I believe I pronounced that right again. The floor is now yours.
Hi, good afternoon. Eurydice is how I pronounce it, but you aren't wrong, Nicholas. Thanks for
Yes,
trying. No worries. Yeah, I'm relatively new to Pierce County. I joined in April of 2023, and as you mentioned, our program is comparatively new. We opened it in August of 2022. But we did have a successful project in 2023 as well. So I'm hopeful seeing these other charts that show that over time the program grows. In 2023, our achievements that were of note for us were developing these different marketing materials that I've shared the links to, and hopefully people will have access to after this call. We're searching for other outreach opportunities throughout this year, just knowing that the interest rates are causing problems, like people aren't interested in necessarily doing much this year. But I did want to mention we are one of 8 counties in Washington that have adopted CPACER ordinances. One additional one came online last December. And our governor does have a proviso in his budget for an additional $500,000 to support the development of programs in other counties throughout the state. If that passes our short legislative session this spring, then that'll be another thing available for counties. I don't have any other updates. I mean, I'm hopeful for this program, but it's been a slow start for us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the update. We do really appreciate you giving it on here. And yeah, I mean, as any CPACE program, you're going to find they usually tend to start slow, and as time goes on, definitely more awareness and more sort of the dissemination of the benefits of a program. It'll tend to start seeing more activity over time. So again, don't be discouraged. It's always usually where it starts slow, but then certainly it'll pick up as time goes along. So again, we wish you luck. And we know that there'll be definitely more success to speak of than in certainly subsequent calls when we have you on here. So so I don't see any other questions for you in the chat. So again, thanks for the update. And again, we wish you a lot of luck, of course, in the coming year. All right. Well, so with that, that does conclude all of our updates for this afternoon. Again, we want to thank you for those of you, especially who stuck around for both calls this week. We do appreciate it. Again, this was, I think, the biggest slate of program updates that we've had on these National Roundup calls. So again, we're very proud of that, and especially very proud to have had some newcomer programs to introduce their programs to all of you for the very first time. So we're definitely appreciative of them and everybody who participated, of course, over the course of these calls over this past week. So just as one sort of last parting note, we will have one more virtual event coming up in the next month or so. that will be the next one of our off-the-record office hours, where we'll be talking on mainly about the topic on CPACE deal making, and really how do CPACE deals tend to get done. And so we do have a slate of panelists from 3 different capital provider firms who will be talking about this, and so helping to demystify really again what is kind of like the process for getting these CPACE deals done within these particular shops. And that will be taking place on Wednesday, March 6th at 3 o'clock Eastern. And again, we really do hope that we see a lot of you out there for that particular call. So again, with that, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, you have a pleasant rest of your day and the rest of your week. So take care, everybody.